Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is BreAnne Steinmeyer.
Yep.
Welcome. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. A beautiful day. So, even if it is, at least sun's out.
Yes, it's nice.
It is nice. So, BreAnne, where are you located at?
Home base is here.
Okay,
Hastings.
Okay. So, are you from here originally?
Originally from North Platte.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how did you get from North Platte to Hastings?
Well, I went to college at CSU when I was 18, was there for 10 years.
Okay.
And then I had a friend who's my longtime childhood friend who was convincing me to move here.
Okay.
First, I was like, absolutely not
Uh
gonna
huh.
happen.
Uh huh.
And then eventually my little heart was like, no, come here.
Okay.
So I
Cool.
did. And yeah, so I was here 5 years in February.
So, was Hastings like you thought it would be?
I really didn't know what to anticipate.
Okay, I can understand
I
that.
will tell you, I came here to be here for a year, and then that turned into.
Well, it kind of says something,
5.
I guess. No. So, what do you do here in Hastings?
I am a web designer.
Okay.
I'm a musician.
Musician,
So I play
awesome.
music around here. I also pour some beers at First Street.
Cool.
Hang out at Kitty's every once in a while.
That's a awesome place too.
Yep.
No, I like that. So, okay. So, what instruments or what you sing or instruments or both or
I play guitar.
play guitar? Okay.
And I write my own music.
I
So all my
know.
shows are all originals
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
since I was like 12.
Okay.
So for
So, that's something you wanted to do?
20 years.
That's something you wanted to do then, evidently.
Yeah, honestly, I've been wanting to do it for my entire life, but I never really had the balls to do it.
Okay.
And I feel like now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, why not?
I 100% agree.
Or I was doing it when I was younger, right? Like I've recorded 4 albums. But
Okay.
like that was like when I was like 15, 17, 18,
Wow.
15, 17, and 20 or something of that sort.
Okay.
And then I stopped writing music for like 7 years.
Okay.
For various reasons, I honestly just kind of like let it all go. But in reality, I was like really kind of letting myself go.
Okay.
Like a massive core part of myself. And then when I moved back to Hastings, I started writing music again.
Nice.
And then I ended up meeting, working at First Street, who then
Okay.
introduced me to like Nathan Hafe.
Okay.
And then got introduced to a bunch of other musicians. So I started
Nice.
playing in a band that's local here.
Okay.
And I was playing with them until I ended up moving to New Zealand or doing my New Zealand adventures.
Uh-huh.
And then came back and started doing more solo stuff. But we just got done doing a Christmas show with BreAnne and the Breeze.
I love it. That's awesome. That's your name of your group then?
Yeah.
Awesome. So how do you go about going to that path? What's the path of what you took to get a group and singing and everything?
Chaos? No.
Was that?
Chaos.
Okay. Well, yeah, chaos does. It seem like most things. Yeah. So, I mean,
you just meet musicians, right? And then you get to know people, and then I think, like, honestly, I feel like First and St. Joe is a band here that's in town that I used to be in.
Okay.
And we had done like an open mic series where there's just like Joe, our brewery guy,
Okay.
Meister at First Street, like
Okay.
drums, Adam, who works there,
Uh-huh.
played guitar and a variety of other instruments and have been in bands. Nathan is like trained in percussion.
Okay.
And so we just had all these like random people that were kind of into music. And so we all did this open mic. And the next thing you know, we started playing shows together.
Nice.
And then I branched off and started doing New Zealand stuff and doing
Okay.
more solo stuff.
Okay.
And First and St. Joe does still do their thing, but they have more like a rock vibe.
Okay.
So that's like kind of their thing. And then I called in Daniel Deffenbaugh. I don't know if you know him.
I don't think so.
He used to be a philosophy and religions professor at Hastings.
Oh, really? Okay.
And now he's the dean of CCC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Phenomenal guitarist. So
Nice.
I approached him and Nathan to play a Christmas show.
Okay.
And over this past December. And then that turned into us asking Sam Dawson, who's on keys.
Okay.
Which Sam is kind of a funny story because Sam was a traveling nurse who was renting out my house while I was gone.
That is
And
interesting.
then he ended up getting a job at First Street, and now he's like in the First Street family.
It's interesting how that all worked out.
Yeah.
That is amazing how it
Like,
does work that way.
Playing music with this like rando that was living in my house for 6 months, you know.
It works that way more times.
It's so beautiful.
It
right?
is. It is so beautiful. It works that way. So, how did you take your guitar lessons, or how did you learn to play the guitar?
Mostly self-taught.
Self-taught, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aside from like a few little things that I did when I was a kid, but mostly self-taught. My guitar is. I'm not bad at guitar. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But my guitar is not my first instrument. My songs and my voice are my first instrument.
Okay.
And the guitar has like always kind of been back.
Okay.
Secondary to that.
So when you learned how to sing, or have you always have you always sung? I mean, always really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you take some music or not music lessons, voice lessons? I'll get there. That word.
Like you can yeah. I feel like you can always improve, right? Like it wouldn't hurt for me to take some vocal lessons to get some like.
There's the word I was calling vocal lessons. Yes.
It wouldn't hurt, right? But no, I've never done anything of that nature.
Okay. So, I mean, you have so many things going on. So, how from singing to designing websites and stuff, has that been something you always wanted to do too?
Web design?
Yeah.
No, I just kind of fell into that one.
Okay.
And it allows me to have the lifestyle that I want to have.
Okay. So do you design web? I mean, do you do that around the world? I mean, or locally?
Locally, mainly.
Okay.
I used to have some clients in the South, like Atlanta and North Carolina. That was like the beginning of my career. I worked for this woman who was kind of famous on YouTube for tarot card reading.
Actually. Okay.
Birthday gift, and then I got kind of intermingled in her network vibe. And so I had my very first clients about 5 years ago, were clients down in the South.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then started getting more clients around this area, and I actually originally wanted to only focus on people in the holistic healthcare, so massage therapists, intuitive readers,
right,
Reiki healers, sound healers, like things of that nature.
Okay.
But very quickly it was like I need to kind of branch out for various reasons.
Sure.
So now I kind of just prefer to work with small businesses.
Okay.
Locally preferred. I mean, I guess technically around the world, but that being like I've had like one client in New Zealand.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But no, a lot of right now where my business is, most of them are located here in Hastings. I do have one in Denver.
Okay.
Who I just got connected with. That will hopefully bring in some more clients.
Yeah.
Really nice to have.
That would be. And with Denver, I mean, talk about there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. This woman that I'm working with is she branched off and she's starting her own thing, and she's being a marketing and branding consultant for architecture and construction and engineering firms.
Nice.
So then the idea is that if they need or want updates or a new website, and then she sends them to me.
Nice.
Which is ideal because then I don't have to do the grunt work of finding clients.
Very good. That's definitely a win-win.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's one of the hardest things about web design, having your own business of that kind of sort, is that you have to put yourself out there.
You do.
Yeah, and that's not always easy, you know?
So how many years you been doing that?
5. It'll be, well, let's see, 2020. I started it February of 2020, but I officially left birthday gift and was on my own, self-employed summer of 2020. So it'll be 5 years.
Okay.
In February/June, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever had a traditional job?
Yeah, of course.
So what were some traditional jobs you've had?
Oh, shit. I worked. What did I do? I graduated. I went to New Zealand right after I graduated. I came back, and I actually started working at on a hippie commune.
Okay, awesome.
Quite an alternative life, eh? So I worked on a little commune. And the kitchen, that was when I thought I wanted to be a chef, so I was really good food.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I was like, let's go try this route.
Right.
So it was a spiritual retreat center. It was essentially what it was.
Okay.
With people that were permanent residents that lived there. That was a beautiful experience.
I bet it was.
So I was there for 2 years, and then I decided to go attempt my corporate roots again. I worked
for
a variety of random law firms. I worked for a brewery when I was in college.
Oh,
as a marketing intern.
Nice.
And then so then I tried to pitter pat down the corporate route again. And I worked for this place called DWC, Digital Workshop Center.
Okay.
And that was in Fort Collins. And then I just was kind of at a point where none of that was making me happy, and I was kind of miserable in the office, and I knew I couldn't really do that. But the way that I was raised and the mindset of America, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I didn't definitely know what you mean.
The other options at the time, and so I felt quite stuck.
Yep.
And quite hopeless, of being I don't want to be in this, but I don't know what my other options are.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until I left DWC and I ended up moving. That's when I moved to Hastings, and I was just kind of COVID hit right at that point too. So that was its own realm of whatever.
Oh yes.
But then I started during COVID. It was maybe end of 2020. I started. No, my years are getting mixed up. I don't know. At some point when it was the birthday gift.
Okay.
That I started working for her, and she was doing the corporate stuff, branched off, did her own stuff, and she was actually the one that was like, "Why don't you start your own web design business?" So I was already kind of dabbling in it and already like learned some stuff. And she was the one that like opened up my eyes to me, like, "Oh, I can actually do this." So then I started down my little path and put like all my love in.
It's your journey.
Yeah, exactly. I put all my love into that and taught myself all the things. And
well, and so many people, it amazes me in this day and age that still think they have to do traditional, and they really push that in this country anyway.
Yeah,
the higher education, which getting all that debt, and it's like, then what do you have with all the debt? And
Yeah.
it's like you still don't have. And there's so many other ways you can get education. Go to YouTube.
Well, I found a different way, right? Like I believe that like we are meant to create, and like we are meant to co-create with the universe, the ethers,
Amen.
The
Yes.
world, like whatever you want to call it.
100% agree.
And we have the power to do that. And I just feel like the system that we are grown up in doesn't allow for us to be able to like walk that own path, right?
It doesn't.
And like that have that what's the word, anonymity?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking for?
I think that's right.
Where it's just you and like the power of you and the wholeness of you is enough to be able to create.
Yes.
And like anyone can go do anything at any point that
you
they
can.
Want to, as long as they don't feel like you have to overcome your own inner challenges. Right?
You do.
The self-doubt, the not enoughness, I can't do this, I'm gonna fail, or even the thought of succeeding.
Yeah, and that is because it's like that is very much, and that's something that it's just like, so what's it gonna be like if you do succeed? And you think, well, it's gonna be great, but it's like it's intimidating.
There's a fear.
There is.
Down, like I've noticed this about myself. Deep down, I have a massive fear of success.
Yep.
Which is like really
because
odd,
it is, but it has to become. You have to basically become a whole new person to be at that success.
For sure.
And it's something like,
or it's like more responsibility.
Very much.
It's like
Yeah, it's just like this because this is getting me more maybe speaking in front of people, on stage, and this is easy. But in front of a stage, it's like, okay, this is, yeah, it is. And I think I would probably, I know I would be all right. It may be very intimidating, and I think once I got up on stage, it would be fine. But it does, it's like, that's a whole nother realm that it definitely intimidates me a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but no, I think it just amazes me. Well, it keeps you under control, when they keep you with the way it's supposed to go. It's just like, go to school.
Exactly it.
And it's just like, no.
Putting the cog in the wheel, so the powerful, you become like J.D. Rockefeller and the school system, and how all of that pans itself out. And he designed the public school system around creating manufactured workers.
Exactly.
And that's just like insane. And
it is
like gets people detached from their own inner.
They lose
co-creator.
What they grew up with, maybe thinking they could be. That it's just like, when you're a kid, most kids like, I want to be whatever, and they believe it. But when you get to be, it can set in very early. It's just like, well, I'm going to settle. This makes money, and it's like, is this making you happy? But it makes me money. And it's like, that's...
Money isn't everything.
It isn't. And I'm of the thing, it's like, go out there, and if you're in flow, the money will come in. It will be there. And
following your heart.
Yeah, exactly. And I have found the universe, God, whatever you believe, brings the people in, whatever you need to get that done. It comes to your aid, and I have found that it's just like, just do it, And most people like starting, and starting is intimidating, But no, I just...
Or you have to overcome those hurdles. Like I had this kid once come up to me, this was a couple weeks ago. This man, he's not a kid, he's older than I am probably.
Mm-hmm.
And he was curious about web design, and he was having these he was like, I'm learning this new coding and I'm doing this thing. And
right.
I'm just kind of wondering if this is pointless, if this isn't worth it.
Yep.
And it was interesting. I was laying in bed last night and I was thinking something similar about my music career and being is it even worth my time to put in the effort to learn how to do this particular thing,
or
do this particular thing. And it's I feel like it's that feeling. And then I was reflecting back to what he had said, and I was reflecting back to the beginning of my web design business, and I'm you do kind of when you're creating something on your own, you're stepping into an unknown path. Like
You are.
You kind of feel like you're like, is any of this going to get me
exactly.
anywhere? Like
Yes.
You're like scrounging through the mud.
It is. And that's a good way to put it because
like,
it is.
In hindsight, you're like looking back, you're like, well, yeah, it will get you. Or if that particular thing doesn't get you somewhere, it will lead you to something else.
Amen. Yes.
That will then get you to where you ultimately are trying to go, or to what you need to be learning at the time.
You do. You just have to go forward. Yeah, you just have to. If it's a dream, dreams usually aren't that easy to attain. But if you've given the dream, you have the wherewithal to do it. You know, it is. It's just like, and it'll probably test you so you become the person that can live that dream. You know, it's just.
So what's one of your dreams?
My dream is to travel almost. I would love to get tired of traveling. I don't know if I ever would. I just love like when we were in Italy in 2023. I mean, just talking to the people and getting to know the locals, and just it was so awesome. And the people in southern Italy, I don't know, maybe but southern Italy they were so friendly. I mean, it was just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But all these people, like before we started this, going and doing these podcasts in person, you know, and really getting to know.
Did you talk to any of the local community members?
Oh yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
And did you put them on your podcast?
No, I got to go back. So
it was such a different mindset.
It is
like way of living, eh?
Oh, they do that. Yeah, they have it. It's so chill, you know, and they really, family is very, very important. Yeah. And I mean, at 5 in the afternoon, they are going to close their businesses because they have meals with their family.
Which you just gotta love, you know.
I do.
Like we get like so used to the modern materialistic conveniences of America, and you're like, it's not necessary to have that all the time.
It isn't,
you know. And I feel like it does create, like, it just perpetuates the like need to consume and the need to like build our worth around how much we have. And like that's like that die-old thing of like, do you have the white picket fence? Do you have who's the biggest house, who's the biggest car, who's the, you know,
exactly.
Like, it is really, there's something to be said about it. And it, like, I grapple with it, you know. It's
me too.
Like,
yeah. No,
it's a mindset that can be really hard to like reprogram in our brains.
It can, because it just comes at you all the time, especially in this country.
All the time, like everywhere you go.
Yeah, and it's just everybody's like, well, you're lazy. It's like, you know, because everybody's in a hurry in this country too, which just drives me crazy. And it's like,
actually exists.
Well, and then it's like, so when are you going to do real work? And it's like, I have done real work, and this is, you know, it's a different type of work, but people don't understand this, or you don't understand like this. And it's just like, I mean, I had a handyman business, which was awesome because I had awesome people that I worked for. And I had like 150 clients, which were cool, but I was wearing my body out. And it's like, this is my life, you know? And
why is it like so condoned and celebrated to like literally work your life away for something that you're miserable in? And like, that is like, you know, like when you said that, like that kind of brought up a feeling in me of like a little bit of anger and like,
yes, me too.
Feeling like I'm not good enough and just what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
I do. And then this thing where I'm going to grind, you know, or I'm going to, you know.
And like, you're not, I'm better than you because you're not working as hard as I am. You're like, since when is that?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And it's just like, listen to yourself. This is your life. And you want to grind it away. And it's just, no, I want to go and have good wine, good food. I want to enjoy, you know, work when I want, be on the beach when I want, because I love beaches. But it's just like, you know, that's one thing I don't like about this area. I mean, it's conservative, that's for sure. And it's getting better, I think, but they definitely don't understand podcasting or, you know, any of that stuff. And it's like,
you find your niche of people.
I do.
You know, like you do. I would agree with that 100%. You can like feel it in the energy of this place, of like kind of the density that is here. You know, it's like I'm in New Zealand and like it's so much lighter, and there's a lot of people that are on way more of this wavelength.
Yep.
And that's like not all over New Zealand.
No, I'm sure that's true
especially
too.
On the island that I'm on, it's like
really
it's an off-grid island full of just like a bunch of hippies that are
I would love
all just doing their
that sounds awesome.
And they're surfing and they're hanging out and it's beautiful.
And they're going to look back and I mean they're going to have great memories. The other is like, well, I worked for, you know, all these years and probably don't remember hardly anything of those years.
Absolutely. Or like Bali. You would love Bali.
I'm sure I would. I look at Bali all the time.
Not even just for I mean, Bali itself is a gorgeous country nature-wise, right? And like, there's different experiences that you can have in Bali. You can have the like resort kind of Mexico type version of Bali, or you can go like more local nature.
I would love that.
Yes. And that was more obviously the route that I chose to take. And you get to meet some of these locals, and like just by out of like no what's the word? Like no like instance of my own. Like I didn't like bring this on. I was talking to some of the drivers.
Right.
And you have the higher drivers when you're down there, and they take you around.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And they multiple times I had different drivers just start to tell me about how they're so happy. And like why they're so happy, and they're like essentially like their key to happiness.
Yeah.
And they said, the thing, it was like almost exactly the same, right? One, Hinduism is very, very integrated into their culture.
Okay, I did not realize that.
And then it's Muslim and it's Hindu is the biggest. Indonesia is like mainly Muslim, and then Hindu. Bali itself is like 99% Hindu.
I did not know
so like
that.
People are like making offerings everywhere, so that was really cool to like be just even a part of, and to witness and to feel the energy of, right?
I love that.
And then so I'm talking to two different people. One was Muslim, one was Hindu, and they both said almost exactly the same thing, where they're like, I think so many people focus on too far in the future, or they're hung up on the past, and they're not living right now.
They're not.
And just embracing like what is happening right in front of them. And they also are like, I'm talking to Waidea. He was one of my drivers, and he was like, I had an opportunity with a business partner to move to America, and like we could have made heaps of money, and like done all the thing. And you could kind of like sense this feeling about him of being like, I wonder what that life would have brought us if I would have chosen that path.
I can understand that.
And he's kind of reflecting a little bit on like, his choices.
Right.
And it's not like he was far, like really poor or bad off, but even then, like, a lot of the Bali locals don't have like, they just don't have a ton, right?
Really? Okay.
Enough to like do what they need to do. Some of them are a little more, some of them are a little less. It kind of just depends, right? But yeah, anyway, so he was just kind of just like, you kind of see him reflecting about it, and I kind of lost where I was going with this. He just was saying, ultimately he didn't choose to go that path because he cared too much about his family and what he was doing there. And so he kind of just like understood that money wasn't as important as being with his family, because him going to the U.S. to do this would have meant leaving his family, and he could have sent all the money back. And he was like, but I didn't.
But they're still missing
want to
him.
live with a life without my family,
Yeah. No. And I can understand his thought, because so many people do live without their family here. They work 24/7, and that is celebrated. Like we were just saying earlier. And how do you change that in this country? I mean, it seems like it's one thing. I think people are going to have breakdown, because I mean, if you're if you're on the interstate, if you're going 100, there'll probably be somebody pass you, and it's just like how fast. And work is celebrated.
That sounds like a metaphor.
What's that? Maybe. So, but it's just.
I don't know if you could change it. Like I feel like at some point there'll be like a massive shift, right?
I hope so.
But like it's kind of like the foundation that America's built on is business and capitalism. So I think changing it on a mass scale, I'm not. Yeah. That is not what I would ever try to conquer. But like I do firmly believe that like things like this podcast, like bringing awareness to the people that you can, to be like, listen, there's a different way to live. Like,
amen.
In an American bubble, there's different mindsets. There's different choices that you can make. There's different, like you live in like Italy, Bali, New Zealand. Like there's different ways that people are living that have not centered themselves around.
And it's awesome.
What we have here.
It was so contagious, because we were with a group in Italy.
It is contagious.
It is. It's just like, I don't want to go back to the United States, and the whole group didn't want to. For one thing, the food tasted better, but it's just like, this is so awesome. It was just, and it was almost immediate when we got there. It's like, okay, I like Italy really well. So, so I gotta ask, why did you choose New Zealand?
God, it was ages ago. Well, the very first time I went to New Zealand, I graduated college.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I knew I wasn't quite ready to go into the workforce. So I was like, I'm going to go travel.
Awesome.
And I think I one time had this like friend from high school, and he was like, have you ever heard of this place called New Zealand? And I was like, what? And he like showed it to me on a map. And I think at the time he was like, yeah, there's just people like raving everywhere, and like it's a big party. And I was like, cool. That sounds fun. Like not really knowing. But then I was like, I don't, yeah. And then I think I just had it like that planted the seed in my head. And then it turned out like my roommate had studied abroad there.
Oh, wow.
And my roommate in college had studied abroad there, and the roommate I was living with at the time. Okay. And then another one of my friends also had studied abroad in New Zealand.
So it just was kind of,
it led me, right? Okay. And so then I decided to do WWOOFing, which is a work exchange program, worldwide.
I've never heard of that.
Of organic farming.
Really?
Yeah, and they've got like Workaways as well as another one, or like Work Abroad or something.
Cool.
Workaway is the other one.
Okay.
But it's essentially you go and you can like work on either farms or like Workaways, more like people's houses. You go and you work in exchange for room and board.
Okay.
So you work like 4 to 6 hours a day for room and board. And then that's a really cheap way for travelers to
I would think that would be great.
Right? Yeah. So then when you start to like walk down the little traveler path, you meet a lot of people that are on the exact same path and just traveling. Some people are running, some people just do it because they're meant to do it. Like I'm a bit of a gypsy, so it's like that lifestyle is quite fitting for me.
I understand that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was New Zealand. And then I came back in like 2016. I was there for like a little less than a year.
Okay.
And then I hadn't been back for ages. And then Sue, so when I was WWOOFing, my very first stop was on this little island called Great Barrier Island.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Coast of Auckland.
Okay.
And Sue Roberts was the first woman that I went to go WWOOF with.
Okay.
Anyway, I ended up staying like a good chunk of time.
Did you?
Most of my time in New Zealand has been spent specifically on that
Really?
island.
Okay.
And yeah, anyway, so Sue got sick at the end of 2022. And it was kind of like we don't know if she's going to make it. And like
she really got sick.
Yeah, Sue was like one of the most impactful women that I've ever met in my life. And so I was like, well, if you're passing, I'm going to come and like, my little heart was like,
exactly.
Go stay, you know? And like, we hadn't really talked, but that's the beautiful thing about like connecting with people. You cannot talk for so many years and then you get back together and the connection is still there.
Exactly. And just pick off where you left off. Yeah.
And so then that proceeded into me like going to see her for a couple months, and then I met the owners of the lodge in the bay that she lived in, and they were like, do you want to come work here for the summer?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, keen.
Yeah.
That summer ended and they wanted me to come back. So when they came back, and then my friend Lou, who I met then, was an incredible chef.
Okay.
We helped start a restaurant at the lodge. So that was really fun. It didn't last very long for multiple reasons, but it was still a really cool experience to have.
It would be.
Yeah. So then that was the beginning of my like 2-year little adventure.
So are you going to be a chef someday?
No, I just really like to cook.
Okay.
I'm on an Asian kick right now.
So, really?
I'm learning how to make Asian food.
Asian? Oh, awesome. So, I mean, what is one of your specialties for cooking?
I mean, honestly, most of my food is like comfort food. Like when I was in the midst of it. But like, I mean, I like my fresh stuff. And that's also why I'm learning Asian.
Okay.
Because I love Asian food and I love how fresh Asian food is.
Yeah.
Well, like what? Like right now, mine is like the Thai, Thai basil chicken.
I do.
Yeah, like Thai food in general.
I love Thai food. Yes.
So I'm like perfecting my Thai basil chicken recipe. I can get it pretty close to where I'm like happy enough, and I'm like, I don't feel like this is a white girl cooking Asian food.
Okay.
The stereotype, like no matter what, I'm like, it always just tastes like a white girl's cooking Asian food,
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast? You have so many things you could talk about. Could be good on a podcast. Do you journal or do you write or meditate or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So would you ever write a book with your travels and everything or your experiences?
Maybe down the road.
Okay. I can see you doing that. So I got to ask, on the Dreamcatcher podcast, I always ask, what were your dreams when you were growing up? What were you going to be when you grew up?
A singer, always.
Really? Was a singer? Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Or a veterinarian.
Veterinarian, okay. So would you ever want to do that?
No.
Okay. So why didn't you do that?
Veterinary?
Uh-huh.
I think I got too grossed out by the blood.
I think, I
think I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals, and the thought of working with animals seemed really lovely.
Yeah, I could
see that. It wasn't, and I don't know. Yeah, no, and who knows? There's a million. And then I think as I got older, I would have been a really good therapist or psychologist.
Okay.
But I'm really enjoying the path.
Yeah, and that's worth so much.
I really would like to make a career out of music.
Okay.
And we're at that point where we're just making steps towards that.
That's awesome.
And I feel like that, and I'm still overcoming that, right? Because I feel like pursuing music, you're like, oh, you're just gonna this is the stories, right, that we tell ourselves. And you're like, but why can't I think of a music career just as I did my web design business? You can apply the same things of
true, I know what you mean.
Creation that I've created in that I can with my music career,
I could see
And not to toot my own horn, but like I do have a lot of skills, and like there's a lot with my music that I like want to offer people. And you should come check out the show at the bookstore on the 24th
of this month. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
In the evening.
Yes.
Okay.
Time to TBD, but she was thinking maybe 6:30 or 7.
Okay. I talked to Nicole quite a bit, so I'll just find out there. Okay.
But you should come check it out.
I will definitely check that out.
My music is like quite soulful and.
Okay. Cool.
I call it soulful folk because it's like not quite just singer-songwriter music, but it's got like a little bit of soul in it.
Nice.
I like to say like a little bit of blues, but more just because my voice is quite soul-y and like bluesy.
Okay. I mean, so what do you at the bookstore? We're talking about Bryant Bookstore here in Hastings. Where do you perform then when you're in there?
I don't know yet. Somewhere in the back. I haven't done it.
Okay.
I've usually been performing at First Street Arena. Arena's been like my favorite go-to place here in town, at least.
Okay.
But yeah, I think where that piano is in the back
there,
and like all of her.
I can see her making a place back there.
All on wheels, so she like moves all the stuff about.
And I can see that being back there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like where the Christmas tree was, like right
now. Okay, I definitely know. So
I think like roughly where I'll probably set up.
She plays the piano very well too. I know at her open house, Nicole. Oh, very, very well.
She did say she was a piano tuner, which would make sense.
Yeah, because she had her Christmas open house and was playing it back in the back there, and it's like, wow, you're really good. And I the first time I'd ever heard her play a piano.
Fun.
So maybe she can join you.
Yeah.
Hey, Nicole.
Join us.
No. So, okay, 5 years down the road or longer, where would you like to be in your life?
I just had somebody ask us this question.
Okay.
Okay, well, 33, I'd be 38. Oh, Mark, I don't know. I can't even think like 6 months ahead.
Well, I can understand that too.
I mean,
if your dream, like you're dreaming at 38, you're going to be, if you're dreaming
like
what,
dream.
Yeah, what would you be doing?
I mean, I'll be playing music full time. I will have like some beautiful little home, like either by the beach or in the mountains. But I am in the U.S. for like 6 months of the time, touring, doing music, and then I'm touring the world for the rest of the 6 months.
That sounds like a good plan. I like that.
Like 6 to 8, like however it is, but like that is like ultimately what I would like to see.
That is so cool.
And then like my dream is like I'm ultimately settling on a piece of land. And if I like could in the worlds of my worlds have like some of my closest friends on this land, and we have like our little homestead.
That sounds really awesome.
And we have a garden, and we just get to like
organic too, so you can get your own food. Won't be like it is here.
But like we're in nature, and like I can literally walk out my front door, and I'm surrounded by nature.
Would you do that here or New Zealand or one or both?
I'm having a really hard time with this one because I have a lot of people here that I love in the U.S. and I know I would always find other people that I would love in other countries. And there's a part of me that does not want to live in the U.S.
I can understand that too.
Reasons.
Yes.
There's also a part of me that really does want to live in the U.S.
I hear you both ways. Yes.
Mainly because of the people and, I think somewhere deep down, like maybe the familiarity of being in the U.S., like as much as I don't necessarily always agree with the mindsets and the way of life here, I understand it.
Yeah, I understand
and
that.
It's familiar.
True. Familiar can be, comforting.
Which, of course, right, like say I pick up and I decide I want to move to Italy or Sweden
or,
New Zealand or wherever.
Exactly.
It's like, then those customs will then become your norm.
You will, eventually you will just, So.
Or Bali. I loved Bali. Honestly, I feel like I'd live a really happy life in Bali.
I think I would too. And everything I've ever seen looks like I want to be there. So
you would love it. It's beautiful. The people are beautiful. Like it's
worth a lot too.
And
I could be on now.
You can get a retirement visa there.
Really, you can? I have to look into that.
They actually like support people coming to Bali to retire because it helps bring money into the economy there. But then to retire there, it's incredibly inexpensive.
So that's a win-win.
So like,
really
if
a big win-win.
Whatever set amount of retirement money, you could go and live off of that for probably the rest of your life, quite luxuriously in Bali.
Good. I might have to look into that because that sounds very, very good. Yeah. Like tell Cheryl's like, hey, we're moving to Bali, and she would have no problem with that. And I mean, tell your siblings they can come visit. Did you have any siblings?
I have an older brother.
Okay, is here?
No, he's in Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay.
He's 7 years older than I am.
Okay.
We are very different people.
And what does he do in Minnesota? I feel for him. I would not want to be in Minnesota. Is nice in the summer.
Yeah, I think they might like it. So his partner is from there.
Okay.
Her whole family lives there. Like she's got like heaps of.
Okay.
I think they like it. I don't know. Yeah.
Minneapolis in that area then, or
Yes.
Okay.
Like maybe like a small suburb
Okay.
or like a suburb around that neck of the woods.
Yeah,
like it might be like an hour away from
Oh,
Minneapolis.
okay.
Or like Minneapolis Airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's nice. I've been up there when it's not been winter. I have a friend that's invited me to Wisconsin. It's like, I think I'll wait until it's warmer then too. So, but no. So some other countries. Have there been any other countries that you've traveled to that you've liked?
Well, so I've been to a few places in Europe, Australia.
Oh, did you like Australia?
I liked Australia.
Okay.
And again, like some of these ones, so like Ireland, let's see, I went to Switzerland, Italy, Greece, Ireland, Australia.
Okay.
That was outside of the most recent set of traveling.
Okay.
And those were all done when I was like my late teens, early 20s.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like, it would be nice to go back. I know I really liked them, but like with the perspective now,
right.
I would love to go back and experience it.
I can see that.
Experience it as like a me human, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like such a little, like my brother actually took me.
Okay.
He was like the one that kind of opened the door for me to be like, look, there's a whole world.
There is. Yes.
Here's how you do it. Let me show you. You know?
Yeah. No, there is.
So I would like to go back now.
I could see it. Did you like Greece at the time when you were there? I hear so many things about Greece too.
Yeah, so, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, it was like
that's on our top.
You're like walking through some of those places and you feel like you're in this like made up Disneyland. You know, you're
really
just like, what is this? Like all the villas and the white buildings with the blue tops. You know,
the ones actually that you see,
tiny little corridors that you're walking through. They're gorgeous.
I would love that. No. They have a lot of those really tiny corridors in Italy too. Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing.
Did you go to Venice while you were there?
No, Amalfi, Positano, Sorrento. We were in Naples, which Naples is just a big city. I mean, there's things there, but just kind of in southern Italy there. Cool. So, but no, it was Naples. I don't know. There's so much history there, but it's all tagged. You know, it's just like this.
What do you mean it's all tagged?
With spray paint and everything else. Everything is covered. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this could be so beautiful if they just. And Naples it was all right. I mean, where we were at, the last night we stayed at a place which was really nice.
It was like quite a bit of like traditional kind of angst, kind of. You know, it's like we said, like the mentality is like a bit like harshly traditional.
Yeah.
Is that?
I would, in Naples, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and they even barricaded the door where we stayed the last night, which was a very nice area. But with the stuff that could come in at night, it's like, oh, I don't like that. We never found that in Sorrento and the other places that were more touristy, but it's just like, I don't think I'd like that. But we rode the trains. The trains were so clean, and
public transportation.
It was so good, and it was €3.70, which was really reasonable.
Yeah,
and they were on time, and we need that here. We really need that.
So nice.
So, and I think I told you that they would torture you with accordion music until you did the €2 coin. Then they would go away. But they did that at restaurants too. So
they just like follow you around.
Well, when we were on the train, they would be right there.
They know what to do.
Yes, they do. Yeah. And they were good, but it's just like, I'm really getting tired of accordion music. So, but
totally.
Yeah, it's just like, but it was cool. It was very cool. So before we end the podcast, anything else you would like to share with the audience today?
You can check out my music.
Yeah. So where can they
do that? You can check out music at BreAnne Music.
Okay.
That's on Instagram. I don't have a ton up right now, but it'll be there. And then Spotify is just BreAnne, BreAnne.
Cool.
There's a bunch of other BreAnnes out there, but I'm too stubborn to change it.
Okay.
So I'm almost like wondering if I don't need to like do like BreAnne jams or BreAnne, or like maybe do BreAnne Music on Spotify. You know, I don't know. I don't know yet, but yeah, they can go check out my music.
So if somebody wants you to perform, do you do somebody?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You go to my website.
Okay.
At BreAnneSteinmeyermusic.com.
Okay.
Awesome. You'll have that typed in your little links or anything.
We will share all that. Yeah. Everything will be there. Whatever you want me to put in there will be in the show notes. So
and website too, if you ever need a website.
Yes.
Sell all of my well-rounded services.
That's good. That's awesome. So how long does it take you to do a website? I suppose
it depends.
So
it depends on how big of the website it is, and how much branding they need and marketing that they need. And
so where did you learn how to do that?
Some of it I learned from DWC. Some of it I learned in college. A lot of it was self-taught.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So what else are you working on that what's next? You got anything else on the irons in the fire there that's coming up
Just
next?
going to New Zealand.
Okay.
I'm ready to get
How does that take you to get there? It's got to be a long
It's
flight.
It ends up being like 22 hours, depending. But it's like it's 2 days on the going there, a day coming back. It's the time difference.
Oh, sure, I can see that.
So what you fly? I drive to North Platte to Denver, Denver to LA or San Francisco.
Okay.
LA or San Francisco to Auckland.
Okay.
And then I'm in Auckland, and then it's like 45-minute plane ride to.
Okay. Okay.
So it's definitely like a journey.
So how many different hours difference is it from here?
They are 19 right now with the time change, because sometimes it varies between like 17 to 19.
Wow.
Like right now it's 19 hours ahead.
That's a lot of hours ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's always kind of cool because I'm in the future when I'm there.
You are.
So it's like I call back to the States and it's like they're still on Tuesday when I'm like well into my Wednesday.
Let me tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I did one the other day with 17 hours difference. He was on the next day. I was on a Thursday and he was on Friday morning. And it's just like,
time is weird.
It is very weird.
And then like you get on a plane and you pop out and you're like in a completely different day.
You are.
A completely different world. And you're like, wow, I can just do this. This is cool.
It is. Do you have jet lag or a problem with that?
I mean, yeah, I always allow myself at least a day to like go and just sleep and settle and like be in my space. And then, I can bounce out of it pretty quickly, but sometimes it takes a little longer to like get out of it, I've like really got my journey to New Zealand quite down pat because I've been back and forth so much over the last couple of years. So it's like I know that when I go there, I'm like,
kind of what you need to do.
Yeah, it's like that day I'll usually be golden, but then by like 4 or 5, I start to be like, okay, I'm gonna like really need to settle down. And sleep for like 14 hours.
I hear you. That was the way going to Italy. I had no problem coming back this way. I had a terrible time. It's just like, how come I was so easy? Going that way and going this way, it was terrible.
Maybe like the like excitement of like being
and that could be and then I come back to Nebraska.
And
it's like it's like and I like Nebraska. I mean, it has definitely its high points and stuff. Yeah,
I find a lot of grounding here.
Yeah,
it helps me to ground whenever I come back here.
Yeah, and I just sometimes when I'm in a city, which I love, I'm really glad I come back here. I wouldn't want to, like we were talking Denver and the commutes and stuff and or any Chicago.
I think it might just be more like the smallness.
Yeah, I do like the smallness.
Yeah,
but I do like visiting cities. I love doing this stuff.
Like this, if Hastings was like in like a mountain nook.
True.
You could walk out or like right next to a beach.
Then Hastings would really move up on my list.
It wouldn't be Hastings anymore. But it
would not.
Really nice.
We need that. We need a beach here.
I would love to be in like a little seasonal small town. Like Hastings is so cute. It does have like its stuff.
It does.
It's cute things to offer.
It does.
In
fact, I like this block really well in Hastings.
Same.
It is
like
very,
really
very.
Enjoyed exploring downtown over the last year.
It is pretty good, that's for sure. So, well, BreAnne, I'll end the podcast there. Thanks for being my guest. Have a safe trip to New Zealand. I look forward to watching your journey. And on that, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day, and take care.